All right, we're officially live, y'all. Welcome into the official Beyond One-to-One training here, where we're going to be talking about how to implement a hybrid coaching program into your business. And I would say a hybrid high-ticket program for most of you who are on here looking at how to transition from doing pure one-on-one, moving into a more leveraged model. So Will, take it away, man. I'll get this up on Facebook as you're getting rolling.
Yeah, we're really excited. My name is Will Boyd. Who you were listening to was Alex Engar, if you can't see names. We're really excited to have you here. As we were talking off air, this is our first time trying to run a LinkedIn event. So thanks for being a part of this beta sort of experience that we're doing, this test run. And I want to talk to you about what we're going to do in this training. We kind of like to get to the nuts and bolts of things. We're going to just spend maybe a minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes talking about a little bit of our story, why we even are talking about this, right? We want you to know we're not just guys who are like, oh, we read a story about this and group coaching and this is the way to go. No, we've been living this experience for a while. And our students can attest to that. Ian's on here, Kenneth, who we've gotten to know really well, have a sense of our story, which is what's led us to going down this route, especially high ticket hybrid coaching. So what we're going to cover in this training is when does it make sense to move out of one-to-one and move to a group hybrid program? So with that inherently means, hey, it might not be right for everyone. It might not be the right time for people to be moving to this. Second, how do we structure our hybrid program to create time leverage and community leverage to ensure continued client results? If there's one thing you're going to learn about us in this training is that nothing comes before getting clients results. And we're just going to assume if you're on here, you're an expert and you're able to get people the results that they're coming to you for. And it's ethical in the sense that you're charging rates that you know that you can get people a return for what they're paying you for. And that doesn't always have to be monetary. It could be peace of mind. It could be time, but that you're actually getting people results. Everything hinges on that. I would assume we all know that. We don't want to run a product, a service, a program that can't get people results. So lastly, Alex and I were thinking a lot about, hey, what's a question that we get all the time? And it's, I've been doing one-on-one. I've been sort of maxed out. We've had quite a few of our business coaches in particular say, how on earth am I going to convince my one-on-one clients who are paying me one-on-one, who are getting the individual attention? How do I convince them or sell them on moving to a hybrid program? We're going to kind of go through some of the objections that we see with that, break those down for you. So that way, at least you're equipped. It's not going to be the world's most in-depth, like here's everything we say on a sales call. That would take us a lot longer, but we're going to break down probably the 2 or 3 most common objections that we see. If you're okay with that, we just put cool in the chat. If you're cool with the things that we're going to go through on this, just put cool in the chat if you're okay with that. And we're going to dive into the details of this. So as I click this button with Canva, Alex, you want to walk through a little bit of our quick story? We're going to try to keep this part to just a few minutes. So we don't want to bore you, but I do think it's important that people have context for why we're doing this and where we've come from.
Yeah. And I actually think I really like seeing how did somebody get to where they're at? Not just tell me right now what's working for you, but what did you actually do to start? And we haven't been doing this our entire lives. We come from the physical therapy world. So Will and I were both physical therapists. And as we finished up our doctoral programs, we started realizing that we didn't want to have kind of the traditional career path. And we kind of fell into online marketing. And we started an agency with that. As that agency started growing, we moved into more of a coaching and course-based model, helping healthcare providers with their marketing, which morphed into this coaching business with helping online businesses in the healthcare space. Over time, we built the agency into a multiple 6-figure business along with our coaching business. And then had all these people starting to come to us saying, hey, how are you doing this online? How is it that you're doing the marketing? How are you structuring your offer? And how can I do this in my own online business? And so today we were on a business coaching program for business coaches and online consultants who are looking to scale their business in an ethical way and in a way that honestly aligns with their actual vision for what they want. And this is something that we harp on a lot is build a business, not that you see somebody else building because of some amazing metrics that they have, but build a business that actually fits what you want for yourself and your life, and that actually feels good, that actually feels fulfilling. And so we tread really lightly when it comes to talking about, go create a group program, because first and foremost, we want it to be a program that serves your clients at the highest level. And if you're a coach who is at the point where you're getting maxed out with one-to-one, this is exactly for you. And if you're not there yet, then start looking at, great, what are the steps that we're going to outline that I need to get to in order to be able to start moving into more of this hybrid program. But Will, I don't know if that did it justice. If there's anything that I left out, feel free to fill in gaps.
Nope, totally. I think this is something that's really important to us is just how we kind of came into this. And really, it's been our journey to find a model that fits our lives. We went down the agency route. Some of you guys maybe have built your own. I would imagine business coaches, executive coaches, potentially have owned your own business. And I don't know about you, if you've ever built a business that's really turned into a job, another job for yourself, you know the pain that can cause. And we started an agency that was built around online advertising for physical therapy clinics. And within 6 months, we knew client support in an advertising agency was just not the world we wanted to be in. We were already thinking, what are our margins going to have to be to hire to bring on all this staff in an industry, in a niche that we just honestly didn't feel super connected to or passionate about. I mean, we were being pulled away from physical therapy in anyways, and then helping physical therapy practices were like, oh, there's a little bit of a disconnect. So we were able to build that, and we turned it into a coaching program. But more importantly, why we do this now is we just really value our time. We value our clients' time, and we love to be able to build a life where we can serve people at the highest level. And we're going to talk about, really honing in your process and your promise. And for some of you, it may be a new way of looking at things. We really talk about promise-based programs versus process-based programs. And I don't think enough people are talking about this. I think it's just like, I help people achieve an outcome. It's like, great, well, how do you do that? And do we have a time frame for that? And are we basing our pricing around the time frame for that? So that's what we're going to get into. I also think the other thing I think it is somebody in here said, watching this, that they do mainly online courses. I think if you have an online course and it's actually getting some people results, you should add in hybrid high ticket coaching to it. It may not be that everybody who takes the course wants it, but I'm telling you, there's nothing like a course when you add in high ticket coaching with it that actually can get people results. The power behind that, because what you really want is people to get results at the end of the day. And we've done the online course world. We've spent tens of thousands of dollars in learning, investing on how to make courses to get people to complete courses. Alex has even gone to the lengths of like tying in charities and punishments to people to finish courses. And we still can't get people to finish more than like 50-60% of the time at best. At the end of the day, we don't want people paying us money to not ultimately get the result that they want. And we know a lot of people are like, well, that's on them. Like, they paid the money, so they should finish it. Well, we're not in the business of they should. We're in the business of taking accountability for helping people get the outcome that they come to us for. And ultimately, at the end of the day, we know that people getting the results that they want leads to increased word of mouth referrals. So it's super important to us that we really, really, really put in processes to make sure people can get results. I just think it's funny, Alex, we started the course route. I didn't even go into that, of how we went into the course route, and have now moved away from pure course route as we've gone into this.
Oh yeah. Our business was built initially for some agency work and then courses. And we thought that was the way of business, that it should be done. And we sold multiple 6 figures of courses. And I think we had 3 or 4 courses that hit 6 figures, that they're all closed now. Like, you literally cannot buy them. And as we found this new model and really perfected it for ourselves, we realized the value of going all in on a single focus that works really well. And that's what we want to invite you to do, because this training really does come from our own struggle. It comes from the past 3.5, 4 years of us stumbling to figure this stuff out, having really great mentors along the way that helped build us up quicker, but still making a lot of mistakes. And we just realized, as we moved from agency model to course stuff, and then we realized, oh, courses aren't doing it. How can we do more of a coaching based model? We realized that we love one-on-one coaching. It's still one of my favorite things, period, is being on a coaching call. I absolutely love it. The problem is it's not scalable, right? We can't scale beyond our time. We love the income spike from having these giant product launches, these giant course launches. There is nothing like seeing a ton of course sales come in after a webinar, right? I don't know if anyone here's ever run a webinar or done a big course launch. That's a pretty exhilarating time, but oh my goodness, the amount of time that it takes to make that happen, and energy, it's just totally exhausting. One of the last big launches that we did in 2019, the day after the webinar that we had done, I'd lost multiple pounds. I think it was like 5 pounds, probably, of water weight. And I literally passed out. Like, that had never happened to me before. I'm not one to get lightheaded. And I literally passed out after the launch. And it was a real big, like, holy cow, eye-opening moment that we couldn't keep going in that level of push. It just wasn't going to work for my body, number one, but my family even more. And then we've been in lots of group coaching programs that we actually loved. The content was really good. The group coaching was great, but we really felt like group coaching alone lacks an individualized element that we really value. I want somebody to feel like they know and understand my business at a deep level when they're coaching me. And I don't want to be number 72 in line for their group coaching calls because they have so many people in there without any individual touch. And so this is why we wanted to bring this to you today, because we've done all of these different models. We've experienced them all as clients too, and we found the best of all worlds. And so we want to show you how we've created our hybrid coaching program that does let us enroll clients whenever we want. It's scalable to the point that if we got 10 clients this month or 15 clients this month, we'd be totally fine at a high ticket price, but we'd be able to deliver for them just fine without having to hire on a bunch of extra people, but still be able to maintain a really good client experience, get great client results, and do it in a way that is scalable beyond one-to-one. So if that's something that interests you, like, oh, you're in such the right place. Let's dive into this. Will, anything else here, dude?
Nope. And if it's not the right thing, if you're like, guys, I've been doing this forever, this is your model, you own this model. Hey, also like, this may not be the best use of your time, and we're all about helping you and respecting your time. So this is really ideally for the person who has one-on-one clients currently. This is probably not the best training for you if you're like, hey, I'm just getting into this, I don't even have a couple clients. This is going to be people who have a solid, decent base of clients that you're looking to a way to leverage this, and you already see yourself running out of time to take on more one-on-one clients. I also think the beautiful thing of this is if you implement this model and you still want to take on pure one-on-one coaching clients, you're able to, I really believe, assuming that it's within reason, that you know the outcome that you can get people, you can raise your one-on-one rate and say, hey, look, to really work with me one-on-one, I really prioritize the group program. If you really want that, here's the high rate. But ultimately, this is going to be your best. We're going to show you why this really is a one-on-one program without being a one-on-one program. And so we're going to walk through that. So the first question we need to do, we're going to get to the good stuff. So we're going to dive in. And here are the things that you need to ask yourself when thinking about when does it make sense to move from one-on-one to group coaching program. So the very first thing we ask everyone is, are you getting your one-on-one clients the results that they came to you for? I know you're thinking, duh, of course, right? You'd be amazed the amount of people that come to us and we say, hey, are you getting them results? Yeah, like, I hear a handful of results. Great. How many of those handful are representative of the bigger group that you've worked with? Well, I've had 60 clients, and it's like, great. So only a handful have gotten results. Yeah. Hey, we have deeper questions than, deeper concerns than you moving to a group model. We have deeper, my first concern is, how do we help you figure out how you get your clients better results? That's obviously the first thing. I'm assuming if you're here, you're really great. You know how to get your clients results and you're getting them results at a high level. So ideally, if you're on here, the answer is yes, I'm getting them great results and I'm getting the results that they came to me for. 2, Alex, do you have a clear promise that your coaching program offers, and can it be accomplished within a relatively specific time frame? And I can't stress enough, Alex, how much we struggled with this early on in our business when we were moving into even an agency and coaching model, understanding, like being very clear on what it is that we're offering people, and then how long it should take for them to achieve that.
Yeah, we struggled with this because we came from the world of physical therapy where you get very clinician speaky. I know if any of you have ever been to a doctor or a medical provider who is trying to explain something to you using medical speak, and you just totally didn't understand it. Has anyone had that experience? Just put yes in the comments. Or you've ever been reading maybe an online article where they're trying to explain some medical thing, and you're like, I swear that's not a word. The thing is, as the expert in our business, we talk about things in a very different way than our customers and clients usually talk about them. And so this getting a clear promise really means, how can I put what the genius that's in my head, how can I put that into words and a concept that a normal human can understand without having to read your mind? And that's one of the core things that we end up helping our clients with, is figuring out what is your messaging around that promise and what does it look like. The problem that we see most people do, or most people make, is that they try to encapsulate all the problems that their avatar has and say, my program does all of these things for you. It's for everyone who has all these problems. And that's a really tough promise to A, fulfill on and actually get results for. But B, to be the jack of all trades, master of none is not a desirable thing in today's market. And so our big thing is, can we help you to get clear and specific on what is one promise that you know you can fulfill on, again, in a specific amount of time? And it might not be a completely this or that kind of thing, but can we get to some level of understanding to where someone can say, yes, I want that. That is something I need right now. If we can get to that level, sweet, we're good. Okay. So if you've got results for your one-on-one clients, and if you have at least a semblance of a clear promise, then we get to this next question, which is, do you have 3 to 4 core pillars that your coaching is centered around? And this, by the way, maybe we should drop it again, Will, so that we've got, for the new people who have joined, we've got a worksheet for this. I really recommend printing this thing out, or at least having the PDF version of it, so you can look through for yourself and say, okay, do I have these things in place? And we actually go into a little bit of detail on this worksheet to help you start listing some of these things out. But Will, what might some examples of pillars be as we're talking about this?
Yeah, since we have people on here doing small business coaching, executive coaching, right? We realized that for us, business coaching, we could have talked about so many things like advertising. We could have talked about sales processes. We could have talked about social media content marketing. We could have talked about all these different things. We really broke it down to what are the 3 core things that we focus on. It's marketing, it's sales, and it's program delivery. Those are the 3 things that we focus our program around. Now we have a back-end program that goes into finances and budgeting and more scalability through advertising. But that's not what we do in the first program. And the big thing is, I think we kind of maybe skipped over this as well, is because our first program is all within a specific time frame. For us, it's 4 months. So to make a promise, right? If I were to say you're going to start from a small business all the way up to 6 figures, and I say like, hey, that is a huge promise unless you know someone's just absolutely a killer out there and they're already doing like 65,000 a month, 65,000 a year. Yeah, you can help them. But if they're doing, they're starting from scratch, to say, hey, I don't even know sometimes if in a year that's going to be likely. And that's a huge promise. But what I could say is I will help you build your initial marketing system. If you're a small business coach, that's one core pillar that you could help someone with. And you create your program around one thing. And that's something that we do a whole different presentation on, which is, what is your actual program? I think this is where people get so stuck, and it's why they can't retain clients very long. And we made this mistake, huge mistake, where we told people we would do business coaching with them for a year. And it turns out people were getting results in 2.5 months. Well, what did people do after 2.5 months? Well, after 2.5 months, they started to be like, yeah, the program is great, but I'd forgotten that I initially came in to get this initial result. And now I'm already moving on to 6 figures. Like, I'm trying to get there. And like, I've forgotten that that's what I came in for. And so the like satisfaction level, while still high, started to decrease, because we were like, well, this is a ridiculous time frame. They already got what they came for, and they haven't had to rebuy into the program to move forward. So I think it's really important. What are your 3 or 4 core pillars, right? You may even have just 1 or 2, and that would be fine as well. We focus on 3 or 4, and we always look at, can we make a massive change in one of those pillars? We don't have to make a massive change in every single one of those pillars, because we do have a time-sensitive program. And we do sales calls with people. We don't just let people buy the program. We get on sales calls with them to be able to qualify and make sure there's just one thing that we can focus on that we're going to solve in that 4-month time frame.
Yeah, I just want to jump in here. If you can get clear on what those 3 to 4 core pillars are, it makes your program so much easier to sell, because then on the sales call, as you're outlining, this is what we do for people, you can point to, oh, that's your problem. Yes, this is one of the core things that we work on. We also touch on this and this, which are related, but this is the thing that we would focus on together. And so if you can have those clear and they fit what your ideal candidate, your ideal client actually needs, then that's perfect. And you can show them, yes, I've thought through this and this fits exactly what you need. Cool. And then the last qualifier here is, are you maxed out with one-on-one clients or getting close to that? If not, to be honest, it doesn't make sense from a cash flow standpoint to switch to a group program. I think realistically, I don't think it really makes sense for anyone who has less than 5 clients to say, yeah, I'm going into group right away. Like, that for me is a bare minimum, unless you've got a wait list of, 30 people backed up. We need to have some semblance of being filled up with one-on-one to make sense. Otherwise, just go sell one-on-one, get your process down correctly, start figuring out, how do I get people results on a repeatable basis? And then get to the point where you say, cool, now I can transition. And to be honest, it doesn't take that long. That can be a 3 to 4 month process for some people, where they're filling up their one-on-one. Then you say, great, now I'm preparing for a group. And there are some things that you can do while you're in that interim, while you're filling up on one-on-one, to prepare for the group program. And we'll kind of look at how that plays out here. But As long as you have those four things, that's when we give the green light to our clients to say, yep, you're good to start creating a group program.
Yeah, I think it's really helpful. So you can see from us. So we take into this consideration as well. We asked ourselves this as well as we were going through this. So like, hey, are we getting our one-on-one clients the results that they came for? And out of the 20 something people we took on one-on-one, 14 of them are now doing over 100K a year, or have done over 100K. 6 of them at least, and I think that's probably a conservative side, are doing multiple 6 figures per year. I think collectively, if we were to look at it, are doing over 2 to 3 million, have done over 2 to 3 million in the last 24 months, 24 months, which has been really powerful. And so we looked at that and gone, hey, we definitely feel confident we can get people results. And we did one-on-one coaching for a solid 12 to 18 months. We were in doing one-on-one, proving our process, understanding where do people get stuck. And it really got us clear on our pillars as well. We knew where our strong points were, and we knew where, hey, maybe we need to refer to somebody else if it's a specific problem. Then what is our promise and what's the time frame? And so for us, we help business coaches or online consultants install a group hybrid program and help them at least 3 times their ROI within 5 months or within 4 months. Like that's what we help people do. And we feel confident with that because we qualify people on sales calls. We don't just say, hey, click the link, join my program. Not a chance. You won't find that anywhere. If you do, I would immediately be like, whoa, how did you find this? I've never set up a page for that. So that's why we're able to do that. We really qualify people and make sure that we can help them with that. And then do you have 2 to 3 core pillars? We talked about this: marketing, sales, and group program delivery. And are you maxed out with one-on-one clients? At the end of 2019, we were getting maxed out. We literally felt like we couldn't take on more people. And that's what forced us to shift to this model. Was we can't keep taking on more people, and we wanted to, and we wanted to help them, and we knew we were getting results. And so if that's you, if you feel like this, hey, this is kind of similar to me, like I'm getting people results, I've got my pillars, I know what my promise is, and I'm starting to get maxed out, or I'm just really getting burned out with one-on-one, it's too much for me to take on, then you're right where we were at. And we're going to dive into kind of how we structure this. Alex, anything else here?
No, man, you're good. Hopefully it's useful to see examples of this. I like to see examples of when someone's teaching me, like, okay, great. In practice, what does this actually look like? Which is why we show kind of how we break it down. So I want you to think through for your answers. What does that look like, right? That's what the worksheet is for as well. So let's talk about how we structure our hybrid program. So if you look at, great, what are the core pillars of our program we talked about? It's marketing, sales, and delivery, right? All in kind of this hybrid program, helping people create ultimately a leveraged model. And so then how do we deliver it? So these are the delivery pillars here. Okay. So our 4 delivery pillars are, we have 2 weekly, we call them rapid fire coaching calls each week. Okay. So I want you to start thinking about, great, how would I deliver my group coaching program? And we have these 3 core things around how we end up delivering. We feel like community has to be a part of it. We feel like trainings, recorded trainings have to be a part of it, and coaching. Cool. So how do I fit in community, trainings, and coaching into my program? This is how we've decided to do it. What we recommend is that you have some one-on-one coaching still as part of your program. I wouldn't recommend that someone goes directly from pure one-on-one into not having any one-on-one with your clients. Okay. I just still think for the success rate of your clients, you should have some one-on-one touch in there. But then you can have some group-oriented touch or some more leveraged type of coaching. And this is what we do. We call them rapid fire coaching calls, where we have people come in and book 10-minute time slots. Okay. And we just say, hey, come book your 10-minute time spot. Other people can be on the call so they can give feedback as well. But it can still zero in on one individual person while serving multiple people in a 2-hour block. So that's how we do it. You might not need 2 2-hour time blocks in your program. Maybe you only need 1 hour twice a week until you get more volume in place. So that's the first one. The second one, Will, is our monthly one-on-ones. And what are how do we use one-on-ones in our program, or how should people think about using one-on-ones in theirs? Because isn't the whole point to make this a hybrid, like a leverageable program? Will, why still the one-on-one? What do we do with it?
Yeah. So I think what we do for this is we goal set for 30-day implements. So we create time blocks of 30 days and we track, hey, where are you at? And for us, it's about measuring someone's progress, because at the end of the day, if someone's getting results after 4 months, we'd love to say, hey, would you like to continue working with us? In one of 2 ways: we can extend in this program, or we can move you to a higher level program, depending on where you're at. Not everyone it makes sense for. But in this case, we use it for goal setting. And if you're like, hey, I'm trying to get out of one-to-one, well, long-term, what you do is you can hire someone to come in, maybe a top student of yours, or maybe VA to come in and you create a tracking sheet, which is kind of what we teach people in our program. Here's our tracking sheet. Here's how we do this. Alex is our guru of spreadsheets and tracking and all this stuff. He's amazing at that stuff, and helps that out. And so somebody could go in and take that data for us. And ultimately we use that one-on-one call to help understand data of how to help people move forward, as well as reset goals for the next 30 days, because that usually takes a little bit longer than 10 minutes to set goals, figure out where you stuck, right? So we look at, hey, what were your current sales the month before, sales calls, revenue and profit, right? We're huge fans of profit over just total revenue. A lot of people make a lot of money, but don't keep much of it. For us, it's about, hey, how do we be as profitable as possible and our clients to be as profitable as possible? And the one thing here with the rapid fire calls as well is, that is, I don't know if you guys have had this with your clients, but we really believe in Parkinson's law, which at least that's what it's called here in the US, which is if you give somebody an hour, they'll take an hour to come up with to complete a task. If you give them 10 minutes, they'll only take 10 minutes to complete the task. Some things obviously require more than 10 minutes, but when you're asking them, hey, what is your one problem right now that you need solved today or would like to get solved today? If you give someone an hour, they will take an hour to get to what the problem is. If you give them 10 minutes, they will get to the problem quickly so they can actually do it, and force them to think ahead of time. We were nervous at the beginning, like, oh, people even, is that enough time? Well, people have loved it. They really come prepared. They're able to actually think about it. They come prepared thinking about what their question is. We don't have anyone who goes, oh, I haven't really thought about it. It's like, no, you only have 10 minutes. Like you're having to get out of here in 10 minutes. Like, you have to come prepared. It's been really, really powerful and really helpful. That's how we use our one-on-ones. Alex, I'm not sure if there was something else you wanted to mention on that.
No, man,
I just
that
think
was
it's
spot on.
been how we use it. I think the biggest thing that's been a surprise for us is the power of community. We've been in groups. Community has been a huge thing. What I've come to find that's amazing is it is like a little referral network once you get people to introduce themselves to one another. And let's be honest, everybody wants more clients. And that's why we're teaching you a way to scale beyond just one-to-one. And it's like, hey, when you have your promise and you know who you work with, well, you're going to have people that come to you that don't make sense. But when you have a community of people, especially business coaches who have little specialties, right? They have their own specialties. You create this little web of referral network. And the other thing is, if you're working with business coaches, if you're working with any people who need coaching, they're usually high achievers and they're competitive and they love to see other people and how they're doing so they can have the bar be raised for them. And not just you. And it takes you out of this position of that you have to be the one constantly setting the bar, which I think is a huge weight off of your shoulders as the primary coach, which is, yes, we're always going to continue to be successful. We want to be ahead of our students, but look, there are things that some of our students are just amazing at and you can't know everything. And it's like, great, look at this person. They're setting the bar over here with this. Look at them, talk to them, get to know them. And I've just found it. Ian's on here I saw him nodding his head. Yes. Like the power of community. It's super, super powerful. I would say, Alex, for me, it's been the most surprising thing. I thought people would just be like, I don't want to get to know people. I just want one-on-one, solve my problems. I think we're working with so many people who, especially during COVID time here, just isolated, alone, feel that connection to other people who are going through similar problems. It's been mind-blowing to me. I've always known community is powerful. I've just been shocked at how deeply impactful it's been. We've even had people renew into the program strictly for wanting to be a part of the community still.
Yeah, it's fun. Like even on the calls. I mean, Ian, you were there on our last call on Thursday of last week. Like these things are fun. When you can build actual community like that, I look forward to it. Like you said, obviously we're hitting on business problems and business coaching, but at the end of the day, you can make your business so much more fun by involving community. And I mean, Ian, it's kind of a party on Thursdays when we get together. I saw you're already signed up for tomorrow, man. You were like the first one on it. I appreciated that. But that's the cool thing, that as a one-on-one coach, you just don't see that that's sitting there for you if you want it and if you're willing to build it. And so I really agree with you there, Will, on the community. And then I just want to talk a minute about what I think is the most controversial part of this whole thing, which is the resource library or the course component. And this is something that a lot of people really stress about way too much early on, thinking that they have to have this perfect course all done before they can sell this. Here's the thing. You need to have an outline of how you're going to get people results, period. Because you're working with them one-on-one, you should start having that outline, right? We talked about that. Knowing your process to get people results. You do not have to have a course totally done or even completed any videos to be starting a a hybrid coaching program like this. Our program does not rely on sending people through a course. It doesn't. It's predominantly a coaching program. But what we can do is we can strategically create assets over time, meaning videos, guides, maybe it's handouts over time as the need arises, or as we plan it into the growth of this program, so that, let's say you have a process that people keep getting confused on or keep needing help with. Great. Maybe that is your first video that you're going to put out. Hey, I'm going to put a specific video out for this thing. And guys, I'm going to put you to that video. Over time, what that resource library then becomes is not a course that someone sits down and has to go through. It's a place to be able to take some coaching work off of your shoulders. So that if somebody says, hey, Will, I need to figure out how to set up a Facebook ad for to bring people into my group. Well, you've already created that video step-by-step, showing them over your shoulder how you've done it. And now, instead of spending your one-on-one coaching time doing a lot of the how-to, you can focus on much more important, higher level thinking with your clients, because you can say, great, this is the plan, this is the strategy. And now I want you to go to this module, this video, watch that, fill it out, and then come on our call on Thursday, where everyone's in on there, and show us what you've done and ask for feedback. And so again, we use it as a library rather than a sit down and go through this whole course kind of thing. And I really recommend that you look at changing how you think about courses within your programs. They can be awesome. They just aren't, they shouldn't be the everything in your program. And that's how we see most group programs going. It's, hey, go through the course, and if you have questions on it, you can come get coaching on it. I just feel like it should be there more as a resource. Yes, to take some weight off of your shoulders as the coach, but more than anything, to be able to point to specific things and say, hey, go look at that. Go look at that. We actually have people come into our program, and we had someone last week, and they were saying, hey, I started in on module 1. And we had to remind them, whoa. It's not like you get in here and you have to go through the course, like sit down and go through hours of coursework. Let's get focused. Let the coaching guide where you need to go spend time in the resource library. And then you can come back with the homework on the coaching calls. So I think people get way too worked up about this and stop themselves from ever creating these types of programs because they don't have the course done yet.
Yeah, I would completely agree. I think the one thing I would say that really makes a huge difference with this, and when it feels more appropriate, is if you actually have a solid process-based program, meaning you're helping someone definitively go from point A to point B. Right? If we say, hey, I'm going to help you go from $0 this year to 100,000 this year, right? I don't know like a specific click the buttons process that makes that happen. I know theoretical things and things we're going to have to do along the way. We're obviously going to figure out our messaging, marketing, how to sell and deliver, right? But I can't just say, now read marketing video and implement, now watch sales video and implement. Not everyone's going to be able to complete that process in the same way. However, if it's like build a bike, right? Building a bike absolutely could be a course. It's literally, or not even assembling, it would be a better way, a better process program. Here's how you assemble a bike. Here are all the pieces that are pre-made. How do you assemble it? Great. You really can't go wrong. You have to follow the process. But why coaching, even on something as simple as that, though, which sounds silly, why coaching is important with this is, what's the number one reason why people get stuck? I don't know if you guys have seen this with your business coaching or the people that you're coaching and consulting for, is they can't focus and they can't hold themselves accountable. And we're talking about highly successful people who have built successful businesses, or people who are trying to build their businesses, who have achieved in other things, is that I can tell you, here's the resource. Here's the thing, right? And this is just pure honesty for 95% of us. Everything that you know, somebody has for free on YouTube, has for free on Google, has for free somewhere else. Unless you actually have proprietary like AI systems, everybody knows, everybody can find whatever it is you're teaching. What you're teaching you right now, there's definitely YouTube videos about. I know there are Facebook videos about. I know there are Google, like you can find blog posts about this. But the difference is that they can't help hold you accountable to actually get to the goal that you want to help move you when you get stuck on something that's really silly. And for us, why we do this is we have a promise-based program, meaning that we can't say, hey, watch these videos and we guarantee that you'll end up at point B. We say, hey, we get to know you, learn what the problem is that you're facing. We're going to coach and talk through it to help you get to point B. And by the way, we'll use video resources along the way to help solve any of those problems where you get stuck. Totally different flipping the script from go through the videos and then we'll jump in and coach you. It's we coach you, Oh, do I have a video training that does that to save you time? Yes. Here's the thing. You might need to repeat it a few times. Go watch this one. But it's strategically implementing what someone needs, not saying, go watch all this stuff, right? Because you get somebody who comes in who's like, you want to work with people and they're like, well, I'm already doing 5K a month. And you're like, I can help you. You're like, oh, well, I thought you only worked with people who are just starting out. It's like, well, I can, but you just don't want to watch weeks 1 through 4. Right. And they're like, well, I don't want to pay for the course though, because why would I only pay for half of it for the same price? And you're like, that's not the point. I can help you get to point B. That's why we do it this way. So we can actually help people when we have a promise-based outcome rather than process-based outcome for us. And again, I know it's something we could go way more into depth. If you have any questions about that, about your program and your process and what you're doing, feel free to reach out to us to help you out with that. Alex, I did want to share real quick. We get a lot of stuff like, oh my gosh, this seems daunting. We make this as simple as possible. There's nothing crazy. Ian can attest to this. There's literally like 3 softwares that we use, maybe a little bit more. We use Calendly to like book calls, but outside of that, pretty straightforward.
Yeah. I just want to talk through making this as simple as possible. You don't even need any of these really. If you wanted to, you could run your entire coaching business with like a phone and a free Facebook group. Like that could be the base level, right?
Where you do Alex, your coaching calls. Program that's all through Voxer, one app, right?
Yeah. Yep. Totally. So let's just talk through how we do it. And I think that this is the most simple way is that if you end up doing group calls, you do them on Zoom. Okay. You need a $15 Zoom account for that. Pretty darn simple. We happen to live stream our coaching calls that happen with multiple people, our rapid fire calls. We just live stream those into our Facebook group. Again, you can do that with a $15 Zoom account. Then our monthly one-on-one calls, again, Zoom. We use Calendly to book those appointments. Simple stuff, right? For our community, we use Facebook. Now, is Facebook the ideal for community and focus? I don't think so, but here's what I do know. People are on Facebook. They have their attention there, and it's still one of the best ways to get in front of lots of people. Now, if your specific audience isn't on that, great. Maybe you use something else. We've seen people use Slack channels for their community.
Or a private LinkedIn group if you're coming from LinkedIn. If that's where you're attracting clients, use a private LinkedIn group. Same as Facebook.
Yep. And then for your resource library, again, don't overcomplicate this. It doesn't really matter. Any software out there can do it. At the beginning, you can use a Google Drive folder, literally, right? As it's free, you can send people a link to it. That's just fine. As you get more complicated, we've used and settled on Kajabi. We've been very happy with it. I've used every software out there though for course hosting, and they all kind of work the same anyway. One of them is not magically going to make you the money. Okay. They do not sell for you. So please don't get stuck on, is it Kajabi? Is it Podia? Is it ClickFunnels? It doesn't matter. Okay.
I think really, one thing, Alex, that stops people is like, well, I'm working with professionals. I need it to look professional. And I'll just say, unless your brand is all about being, if your brand is about appearances and aesthetics, okay, totally. I get it. You may want to go the most professional route that you possibly can to start. Everybody else, like your clients are coming to you because they want results, not because it looks nice, right? Like people get Rolexes because they look nice and status, right? People get fancy cars because they look nice and it's status. People are coming to you to get a result for their business, right? And I'd rather somebody say, hey, your guys' program looks like crap, but I got incredible results, versus your program looks amazing. I want mine to look like that, but I haven't gotten any results from working with you, right? If I had to choose, that's where I'm going. So I just always want you to keep that in mind. For us, that's just our belief system. Again, if your brand is all about aesthetics, appearances, totally get it. You may want to go that route. For most of us, people are coming to us to get results. That's what we should focus on. Cool. So Alex, I want to go into this last question. You are our sort of sales expert here, but things we've had our clients come to us who've been successful one-on-one coaches.
Oh yeah.
Who are like, oh man, I'm about to go to group though. And we hear it all the time. I'm nervous. People are going to hate me. They're all going to leave. No one's going to keep working with me. Why would anyone ever go to a group model or hybrid model versus just all one-on-one? And these are I think some of the main objections that we've heard, and we want to cover this because we know for you guys, a lot of you are going to be watching this, have many one-on-one clients, and you're like, it all sounds great. Do people actually buy into that, or do they just leave to go find another one-to-one coach? So yeah, Alex,
how many of you right now are nervous? If you do one-on-one, how many of you are nervous that switching to a group type of program or a group-oriented program would be hard for your clients to accept? Just put me if you feel like, yeah, that would be hard. I'm a little bit nervous about transitioning. Because it's something that we see all the time. And whenever we bring this up with people, there's just this, oh no, people are going to think that suddenly my program's a lot less valuable. And I'm going to tell you that it's actually all about how we position it and creating the right offer for them, but also helping them see that there's greater value by not just having everything rely on you. So a couple things to think about when people are thinking about, how do I sell to someone who's I'm already working with, it's already one-on-one, they're already used to that. How do I move them over? So to be very honest, Will and I still have 3 people from our one-on-one days that we've held on to for one-on-one. And we've offered along the way, we kept saying, hey, if you want to, you can move over into this group program. They still get access to it anyway, right? But we offered them the opportunity to either upgrade to the group program and stop doing one-on-one, or to stay one-on-one. So it's not, hey, you have to go all in on this. Like, I just really, really want to be upfront. It's not a right or wrong. But for the majority of people who this new group program is going to make sense for in your business, here's how I want to frame it. Because people are going to worry, oh, will I still get one-on-one attention? And the answer is yes. Most of the time, what we have people do is reduce the frequency that they're giving one-on-one calls at. So maybe you're doing one-on-one every week or every 2 weeks. Great. Drop it down to every other week or once a month. And you'll be surprised when you tell people, hey, we're going to be doing deep dive monthly calls, but you're going to be able to get on the phone or on a call with me every single week still, because you're still doing those calls once or twice a week, right? Where you're doing that rapid fire style calls. And so it's really easy to say, hey, you're actually going to get to see me more frequently now, right? Maybe you're doing twice a month one-on-one calls. Hey, now you're going to get access to me every single week if you want, and we'll still do a monthly deep dive call, just you and I. Cool. Check that box. Next, hey, will I pay the same rate? So I actually have some different opinions here. We have people who are charging about 70% more for their group program than they were charging for their one-on-ones. And that breaks a lot of people's brains. I'm not sure. I think we'll show you a case study here, but a lot of times you can actually raise your price, keep it the same, or if you want to offer a relative discount, you can. To be honest, it's all about how you position your offer. And that's what we work with our clients to show them, hey, how can you explain the value of your offer to someone such that they desire it? Most of the time, people are just fine transitioning over into a group program, provided we can show them they're still getting the support that they want, and it's going to be an even better experience. So will they pay the same rate? It's up to you. And that's what we work with. If you were to end up working with us, we'd figure out what does that pricing need to look like and how do we justify that, whether it's an increase or not. And then, hey,
Alex, real quick on that point, I think what I meant so I'm the one who typed this up. What I meant by this, I think, and I don't think I clearly stated this, is that I think it's a catalyst to be able to say my one-on-one rate is going to increase because of demand of where I'm at. So to stay on that, it's going to go up. So meaning that you can actually charge still more than what you were charging one-on-one for your group still, just that it really does make a lot of sense. I think that your one-on-one rate should go up significantly if you're in that much of demand. Because you really, those people who want it, you're giving up more of your time. You should be, just my personal philosophy, like you should be setting the bar high for that. So that way you're moving people to say, this is your best option to get into group.
Cool. Thank you for the clarification. That was great, Will. So last thing, hey, will I have to share everything about my business with everyone? So Will, let's talk about it. What did you mean by that question, by the way?
Yeah, I think some people are like, hey, I really enjoyed being one-on-one with you, and it's just us, and I share some private things, right, about my life, about my business. You know my numbers really intimately. Am I going to have to share my numbers with everyone else? I think there's a part of it that's vulnerable, right? Of like, hey, here's what I did this month. Do I have to share those things? There's a little bit of hesitancy at times I think a lot of these people are competitive, right? Like people we work with, they're competitors and they don't like to lose. And there's a good and a bad to that, meaning like it can motivate a lot of people. There's also some people who are a little like, well, what if I'm not the best in the group? And it's like, oh, okay, well, how do we answer? I think there's some people who have resistance to that.
Yeah. So I think this is a really important one from a mindset perspective. The short answer that I would give someone is if there's anything sensitive about your business, that's what we'll cover on our one-on-one calls. If there's something that you don't feel comfortable sharing with the group, we don't need to get into that. And we actually have people who are in very competitive niches or the same niche who would technically be competitors. And we had someone come to us very specifically and ask, well, there are other people in the group that are competing with me. How do we deal with that? And we had a conversation about abundance mindset and collaboration rather than competition. And so it was a reframe of, look, you might be selling something similar to a similar group of people, but my goodness, you better be selling something that you better be different somehow. And that's the goal, is how can we make what you're doing different than those people and actually complementary so that you can feed off each other. And that's actually worked out really well for that specific person in our group, because they have been able to complement and not compete. And so again, it comes down to reframing, just being honest with people. So I think that one is important, but knowing that, hey, we're still going to be able to keep things in our one-on-one calls.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely love it. So hopefully that helps you with objections. Of just trying to be conscious of time here. We're going to roll that, why we love this model so much. So we've been implementing this for, gosh, I don't even know, Alex, at least over a year. When we first started with Launch Code, doing this, it's been probably closer to 18 months, I would imagine. And here's why we love this model. We can take on 10 to 15 new clients each month without the system breaking, meaning we can get people on our group calls, our rapid fire calls, and keep the one-on-ones, and it doesn't break. So our program's 4 months long, meaning if we take on a maximum of 15 per month, we'll never go above 60, because that's all we do. The people that end at 4 months, they can either choose to continue, or they or either go their own way, or they move into a separate thing that we have. And so for us, it's manageable. We can do it. And it absolutely works out great. For us, our program's $6,000, and we qualify all of our clients to make sure they're doing at least $3,000 a month, have specific marketing, sales, or delivery problem that we feel absolutely confident that we can solve. And for us, the great thing is this has led to over 90% of led us to an over 90% promise success rate and 0 negative report experience in the program so far. We realized there could be, but up to this point, we've had 0 negative feedback, which has been amazing. We've been doing this for a year, over a year and a half at this point. So we feel really, really good about what we're doing and how we do this. And I think the key to all of this is qualifying people. That's just, I think, where a lot of people go wrong. They don't qualify and they don't have a clear promise. And Alex, just to show something here of how this has worked for one of our students who joined us not too long ago, and how they're crushing it.
Jerry's so awesome. Jerry came to us actually asking, hey, do you guys teach about masterminds? And I was like, what do you mean by masterminds? He said, well, how do you get lots of people in a program all at once doing things? Like, okay, you're talking hybrid group programs. And so this is Jerry. He was struggling to turn social media prospects. He had a lot of people in his audience. He was struggling to turn them into sales at a high enough volume and be able to serve them at scale. And after joining us within 3 months, he was booked up beyond 40K over the course of the past 3 months, booked with sales. And now he's got a wait list for the coming months, because he's just getting so many people in the door. And at the end of the day, the bottleneck for most people in this whole process is not delivery. Like, the delivery aspect is pretty easy for us to get over that bottleneck of you spending one-on-one time. The bottleneck for most people ends up being, cool, how do I attract and sell to people at a high enough frequency? And that's why we like to sit down together and craft the offer that actually makes sense so that you can deliver at scale, but then the messaging around it and the marketing strategy in order to be able to get people to know about you, trust you, hop on a call with you, and ultimately convert. And Jerry's done a great job on all 3 aspects of that.
Yeah. I think the big thing here is Jerry came to us. He didn't want more one-on-one, but he came to us wanting to sell an online course as well. And we were like, that doesn't make a ton of sense. And be able to help him realize, like, hey, you need this hybrid model. Was able to do it. And I put booked in quotation marks because Alex and I knew this is a very West Coast term, West Coast USA term of actually sold sales. And so I was very confused for a long time of like, great, is that good or bad? Like, booked mean like perspective? He's like, no, it means that they paid. So, okay, great. And within 3 months, he's done over 40K in new sales into hybrid programs in a combination with a few other one-on-one program or clients. It's been absolutely great. One of our favorite guys, another guy who I did not think community was going to be such a big thing. And he's just absolutely been one of our favorite people in the community, brings so much to our other clients as well. And forever grateful to him for that. So that's it. We want to ask if we can help you. We're pretty laid back guys. I don't want you to think that this was by any means leading to a sales pitch. We're super laid back. We just figure if you're here, you might have some questions. And if that's the case, and want our brains in your business, let's hop on a call together and see if we can help you. The way that we do that is we'll map out a path to scaling your business. And if it makes sense, just go over to healthyfunnel.com/grow. and you can book a call with us, or reach out to me on LinkedIn, reach out to me on Facebook, one of those two channels. Say, hey, Will, like the presentation or hated it. You let me know. Whatever, any feedback is welcome. But if you feel like, hey, I really loved what you talked about, we might be able to work together or help, shoot me a message. Happy to help and talk with you. Or you can go to healthyfunnel.com/grow and we can set something up. I just want to say, Alex, I'll turn it over to you if you have anything else to say. I just want to give a huge thank you to people who tuned into. This is our first time doing a LinkedIn event, bringing people here. It's been a ton of fun. Like, I might have to do this again.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, I'm going to steal the screen share from you.
Yep.
And as we wrap up, I just want to invite you, if you haven't yet, go grab the handout for this presentation, which you can find at growyourmomentum.com/planner. Or if you're watching the replay, you probably put a button to it down below and it'll take you to this. I really want to encourage you to sit down, print this out, and think through these questions. This is everything that we just went through. Make this time worthwhile by actually acting on the information that you just got. We walk you through these different steps that we talked about, figuring out, am I ready to move beyond one-to-one? Once we can check these boxes, awesome, it's time. Once you say yes, or I'm getting close to a group program, great. How do we actually plan the thing out? And this is what we walk through with our clients of figuring out, great, how long does it need to last? What's the frequency of your one-on-one coaching? When are you going to be offering your group calls? What's the cost? What's the payment plan going to be? This is what we end up coaching people through, helping them figure out. So if you're looking at this and thinking, I don't know, I'm stuck on this thing, that's what our program does for people. It helps them fill up their one-to-one coaching program and then get prepared for, launch, and scale their hybrid program like we've just talked about today. And again, feel free, you can reach out to us individually, either through LinkedIn, or if you're on Facebook, or you can hit us up at healthyfunnel.com/grow, like we showed on the slides, to book a call with us. And really, hopefully you've seen at this point, Will and I are real dudes running a real business with real clients who also have real businesses. Our goal when we sit down with you is not to put you in a high pressure sales situation. I really don't like that myself. It's a huge turnoff. Instead, I look at, great, how can we give you value and actually create a roadmap to getting to a group program? Who was it that I sat down with? Kenneth, you and I talked a week ago. I know you talked with Will like 2 weeks ago. And I said, hey, it's actually not time yet. It doesn't make sense for us to work together. Instead, I want you to focus on X, Y, and Z. We created a customized plan for what you need to focus on before it would even make sense that we could sit down together and work. And if that's something that you feel like would be beneficial to you and your business, to sit down and actually have our brains look at your business and map out, what does this look like? Then hit us up, healthyfunnel.com/grow. We're going to ask you some questions for if it makes sense for us to sit down and work together, or even look at working together or not. And if it doesn't, we'll point you towards the resources that would make sense. We have a lot of free trainings that we've done stuff like this in the past. Our goal is that we can help you move forward and create momentum in your business, which means get you out of being stuck. And that's the end goal for us as a coaching business, is how can we help you get moving faster and faster towards something that you feel aligned with, that you feel like actually fulfills you, and really at the end of the day serves the people that you're working with. And I guess we'll end it here. People have questions, they can reach out to us, but this has been a bunch of fun, man.
Yeah, I had a blast. Brent Baker, thanks you so much for tuning in. Brent says, thanks. That's the direction I may be headed already. This was very confirming for what I was thinking. Thanks again. Hey, anytime, Brent. And thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to get the replay of this out in case I know some of you guys are working and have things like that, but I'll leave it here. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn for those of you who I'm connected with, and then anybody else on Facebook, or go over to healthyfunnel.com/grow. This has been a blast. I think we do it again at some point soon. And I just want to say, I can see Ian on here. Thank you, Ian, for tuning in. Thank you, Kenneth, for tuning in. Thank you, Max. Thank you, Heidi. Thank you, Ian. Thank you, Rich. Thank you, Danelle. I think there's more, but I'm just going to leave it at that. And we will catch you guys next time. And thanks so much for tuning in to this presentation.